Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, September 24th, 2021. And this is episode 126. We're calling this one, How Important Are Press Conferences? Want to say salute to the LDBC. I want to say salute to everybody that's out there catching us live, as well as those who will catch us on the replay because they think they had something better to do than to be here with Stormybman. Can you believe that? Can you really believe that? I don't believe it. But welcome to everyone who's here. Please smash that like button as you come in. It is very important for the algorithms. When you smash that like button, that lets people know that content that they've been waiting for is available, okay? When they go through the search engine, it pops up there near the top. So that's what that's about. Smash that like button as you come on in. Appreciate everybody that's out there. We got some people out in the building very early. We got the queens out there, Diana Branch and Tay Brown. Diana says, salute to the wise man who always speaks wisdom and brings calm. Respect, Stormy B. Appreciate that, sister. Tay Brown is saying, Stormy B, man, the quiet storm, a.k.a. Seafood, the master. And Ronald Haskins is out there. He says, that beat is nasty. Yeah, man, that Friday night chop session with Stormy B, man, theme song. Let me tell you something. That song was available. I grabbed it up. So when you hear it, man, all you could think about is seeing that little montage of Ali shadow boxing over there and you waiting on me to come in and say, yo, 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 what's good, YouTube, right? When you hear that beat and you get to stumping those feet, you know what's next. It's time for us to come and meet. That's right. Stormy got bars too. That's right. Curtis Price is out there. He says, that theme is hardcore. 1000. Amen. Appreciate you, Curtis. Glad to see you back. And Jelly Bean is out there. He says, salute, OG. Salute to you as well. We've got a couple of things. Michael Johnson, Boxing Talking More, is out there. He says, what it do? What it do with you, Mike? What you cooking tonight, man? I know you always got something good going on over there cooking. So I want to know, you had neck bones the other day, so what is it tonight? But we got a few things want to get out of the way. As a reminder for the channel, in the description box, there is a link for Stormy B-Man's merchandise, and that's there for a reason. You can click on that link, and it'll take you right over to the store where you can pick up some of the merchandise that Stormy B-Man has to offer on his channel and his Streamlabs store. So that's the link on the screen there, but it's also in the description box. Also on the main page of the Stormy B-Man's channel, there in the thumbnail box there's two PayPal buttons there. One is for donation and one is for the Streamlabs merchandise. So if you click on one or other of those, that it'll take you over there to that page where you can explore either donating to the channel, which there also is a PayPal logo on the screen now that we have there, or it could take you to the merchandise. Okay. And when you get over there to check out the merchandise, there's plenty of good things over there for you. Okay, because when you get over there, we have goodies such as the Stormy B-Man t-shirts. Those are pretty nice. Like them myself. Come in an assortment of colors. And the hoodies that we have also come in the same colors as the tees. I made certain that I did that. Want to say salute to Jay Bright Shooter out there. He just subscribed to the channel. Every time we have a new subscription, you see the champ, Deontay Wilder, hitting the bag up there, and that's vintage Wilder. That's not the new Wilder. He don't even hit the bag the same, but I still put the vintage up there because we like the brother in all his totality, right? Old as well as new. But yeah, the sweatshirt, hoodie, it comes in the same colors as the t-shirts. We got that out there. And thank you for subscribing, Jay. Appreciate you doing that, bro. Along with the t-shirt and hoodie, we also have the rain jacket, windbreaker, which this has a hood on it as well. It has a chest pocket there that zips across the pocket. You can fold that up when you just carrying it on a day you're expecting some rain. You know, you can carry one of these with you. It's very lightweight. They're very nice. They come in 3 colors, and they're pretty cool. Okay, so grab you one of those as well. They go all the way up to 2X on this one. So if you're an extra plus size brother or sister, we're working on getting larger sizes. But right now, the max they go up to is 2X. Salute to William Old School Ardent out there in the super chat. He says, salute Stormy B Man. Thank you for your donation to the channel. And thank you for showing up for the show and supporting the show, William. It's good to see you back. And I know you long-time listener out there, and you're starting to support even more. I appreciate every bit that you do out there, man. I really do. I really do. Getting back on this merchandise, not only do we have that windbreaker, but we also have backpacks. Okay, the backpacks are great because it's where you can carry your gear with you if you're on the move. Grab you one of those backpacks. They come in 2 colors. They got the Stormy B-Man emblem on them. They're made by Champion, which is a quality manufacturer. And this, you can put your boxing equipment in there, your mouthpiece, your hand wraps, your jump rope, you know, bag gloves, things of that nature. Carry it with you on the go. Or if you're just a person that likes to tote a bag with you to keep your gear in, that's what you pick up. Pick you up one of those backpacks, and you won't be disappointed, I'm telling you. And lastly, for those who like to wear those hats, man, let me tell you, the Stormy B-Man snap caps, the baseball hats, they're really nice. Got the Stormy B-Man emblem on them. They come in some great colors. I also added a camouflage, which really looks pretty cool because people like camouflage these days. And, excuse me, it works out that you can get one of those in one of those colors as well. The baseball caps are very nice. Don't sleep on them, okay? And also for those who like their morning Java or tea, the coffee mug, okay? We got the Stormy B-Man coffee mugs, and that's for anybody that, you know, even if you're Oscar Valdez and you might be out there sipping on your tea, before a sparring session or something, and you want to make sure that you get it with that Stormy B-Man logo on there because it's nice and dark and can't nobody see what's inside the cup, even if it has phentamine. You know what I'm saying? So come one, come all, get you some of this. Stormy B-Man products right here. All right. Appreciate everybody out there. I see the chat is moving as I was sharing the info. Let me go back a little bit. Let me see. We got my man Big Homie Coop out there saying, salute Sifu. He says, backsmack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. That's right. And Michael says, no, man, no cooking this weekend. Cooking curry goat. Oh, man. See, now you just done messed it up for me now. I know curry goat is popular and everything, but I ain't messing with no goat, okay? Lala D says, I want a Stormy sweatshirt. Do you have them? It's just the hoodie, Lala D, but the hoodies are very nice because they have that pocket on them where you could put both hands in there and keep your hands nice and toasty on a cool fall day. So try you out one of those. And We have about 4 or 5 colors in them, and I'm sure you could find one to your liking, and they're nice and comfortable. It's what I'm sporting right now on the show. Love this thing. It's like, man, it's nice, huh? So get you one. Let's see some more comments out there. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk is out there. It says, salute Grandmaster Sensei. Salute to you, brother. Good to see you out there. Appreciate you stopping in. And Lala D says, Stormy, I need 8X. Please make a special for me. She says, just kidding, Stormy. Nah, Lala D, you can't get that 8X because you can't sneak all that Garrett's popcorn and the Chicago style or the Italian beef sandwiches and all of that. You can't sneak all that in the movie theater in the sweatshirt as an 8X. They just ain't gonna believe, sister. You're gonna have to pay 8 times to get in that theater. You can't blame Stormy for that. You can blame it on you and that big old appetite, huh? That's what you're gonna blame for that. So, yes, who else we got out there? Man, the chat is really jumping. Andrew Charles is out there. He says, salute Stormy B-Man, salute to you. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens is out there. Says, salute my peoples. Salute to you, Reggie. Hope you'll be joining in a moment. Lala D is laughing. And Big Texas, Cletus Smith is out there. Says, salute Stormy B-Man. Sensei, salute to you. And he's laughing as well. DP Rocker has joined us. He's out there giving the pound. What's up with you? MPWTF is out there. Says, salute, 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 Sensei and chat family. Salute to you as well. Who else we got? Man, that thing is jumping. Boy, I tell you, it's funny when this stuff happens. Tay Brown is out there. She's saying, you selling shirts, Sifu? Yeah, I'm selling shirts. Man, where you been, sister? You know, on the Friday night chop session, I give a rundown early in the broadcast about my my merchandise. You know, I don't do it on all my streams or on all the videos. I put it on the Friday night chop session because it's a long show, and I open the show up with that. So that just as a reminder, what people can have if they want a piece of Stormy, you know what I'm saying? You can go right on over there and get you some of that merchandise. And please click on that link that take you over there because like I said, there's something in the bag for everybody. I'm certain you would find something that you like. And I have, you know, I have prototypes of everything in my own possession. And I'm telling you, I was quite pleased with everything. So go over there. Yeah. Tay says, oh my God, I'm sorry, Sifu. I didn't know. Got to check that out. No, you ain't got to check it out. You got to go over there and check one out, huh? Click the button, order you something, get you a couple of them. Because I'm telling you, they're nice. I've had some brothers out here like Bruce Goes and a couple others. They said, hey, man, the T-shirts are nice. You know, I Am Trill Will, he bought one. He was rocking it on his live stream a couple times, you know, and he said he likes it. You know, the shirt fits well and everything. He might be, you know, putting on a couple pounds where, you know, eating them rib tips and everything, but the shirt is good. You know, he got a nice large size, so, you know, he still got room to fill out in there. But yeah, get on over there and get you one, huh? I'm telling you. Stormy don't be cutting corners on the stuff. It's all good stuff, man. And as I said, on the Friday night chop session, that's when I let you know what's happening with the merchandise. And we do that every Friday right over here. But also a reminder that Stormy is still an ambassador for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company, where they have handcrafted materials over there for the black person and everyone else that likes something nice on their skin, from lotions and oils, deodorants, beard butter and hair oil. Listen, they got great products over there. They're doing some tremendous things over there. And some of those tins of colognes, the essence of those, the citrus smell, all that earthy smell, oh, that stuff is great. So get you something over there. And if you enter Stormybman, you get 10% off your purchase. So don't forget to stop by the Black Gentleman and Grooming Company and get you some of that over there. They're doing some wonderful work. Lastly, another reminder to you all. I see you out there, Ashley's Corner. She says, "What's up, Stormy? What's up with you, sister? Good to see you out there. Thank you for stopping in, and please smash that like button as you come in." The last reminder here. Dun, dun, dun. The free giveaway of Jackie Chan's Drunken Master Blu-ray for the Kung Fu lover in you. This is the first free giveaway on Stormyman's channel. They won't all be Kung Fu movies, but this just happened to be the first. All you have to do is enter to win comment in the comment section on any of the videos or live streams. 1 second, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. I had to cough, and I didn't want to cough into the mic, so excuse me for that. Yeah, you write your comment in any of the comment sections, not in the chat, but the comment section, and you can qualify for the 50th person to write enter to win with their comment. You'll get this free Blu-ray, Jackie Chan. And then in the future, we'll have other types of giveaways, but this is just the first one to get things rolling. And we're in the 40s right now for anybody that's interested in how many we've tallied up. And it's taken a long time to get to 40. So some people may not just want this particular giveaway, but when I see these folks out there watching my Kung Fu film focuses, it tells me something else. So I don't know what y'all doing, but in order to get this giveaway out of the way, somebody needs to claim this one. The 50th person gets it, okay? So now we are done paying the bills with that. And I appreciate everybody sitting in through while Stormy had to run down that rundown, okay? What else we got out here as far as the guests in the chat? Let's see. Earl Taylor Sr. is out there, says, "Salute family, salute to you." And Michael said, "If you ate this curry goat, you would be like, ooh-wee. Yeah, I'll be ooh-wee to the hospital because I don't eat goat, brother. I ain't messing with no goat." Huh? Tay-Tay was like, "Oh, my God, Sifu, I didn't know. I got to check that out. I read that. I'm sorry." Who else we got coming in here? Bruce Goes, channel member out there, says, "Salute, my brother." Now, see, there's Bruce. I know he, for one, is a person that purchased one of the Stormybman shirts. Was it a shirt or a hat, Bruce Goes? I think it was a hat. But he said he was very happy with it, man. That's what's up. So when you support the channel, you get good things. And I try to give the best in content to you as a reciprocation there, okay? DP Rocker is out there. He says, "Oh, shit, not the Drunken Master." Yes, sir, the Drunken Master. I'm trying to give it away for free, man. You got to write enter to win in your comment section of any of the videos or contents or live streams and qualify to be the 50th person. We're not that far away, so let's get to it. You know what I mean? And that's how we'll get going on that. But yeah, we call this evening's show "How Important Are Press Conferences?" Okay? And that was due to what took place, earlier in the week, the press conference that we saw Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez, when they came together for their press conference announcing that they were going to look to fight one another. And let me tell you, man, the thing that happened there early on when they faced off, tensions ran hot. Slaps were thrown and Plant was cut under the eye. Was this publicity to drum up a fight that some people may not have had much interest? Maybe. Was it smart? Yeah, but the ending result wasn't so good because Caleb suffered that cut. And that may put the fight in jeopardy where it might have to be postponed or something. So, listen, press conferences don't really need the hype like that. What needs to happen is the fights that we as a boxing public want. That's what needs to happen to make people take an interest. And when the fights happen that we want to see, we get excited for boxing. When we get excited for boxing, we'll watch other fights as well. You can't do it backwards. You can't give us fights that nobody cares about and then have these antics at press conferences and whatnot to try to drum up interest. Give the people what they want. Don King in the 80s and 90s put on tremendous cards in boxing. And sometimes when the events were over, particularly the pay-per-view events, Don would have the PA people play the OJs, Got to Give the People What They Want, all the time after those cards because they were very successful. They were sold out. They were popular. And the people left the stadiums pretty much happy. There were some times when there were bad decisions and draws and things like that. But yet and still, Don understood what it meant to give the people what they want. People want to see quality matches, man. Now, can you have home runs all the time? Absolutely not. Sometimes you'll have some singles, doubles, even triples, huh? But every once in a while, when you're doing things correctly, you mix in that grand slam. And right now, boxing has been running on fumes with singles and doubles. Okay? We need a few grand slams to save the day. Yes, sir. My man Bruce Goals was out there. He says, I was the first merchandise buy you had. Yes, you were, Bruce Goals, and I thank you for that, brother. Somebody had to kick it off, and you were able to do that, and I really appreciate you doing that, man. I really do. Brown on Boxing is out there, says, salute Stormybman. Salute to you as well. But yeah, when they give us what we want in the fights, we will be more open and receptive to other fights. But you can't continue to put high-profile fighters, and that's what we'll consider Canelo Alvarez in this. A high-profile fighter against a series of fighters that you don't know who they are, fighters from different parts of the world that nobody really cares about, and journeymen, okay? That's going to run its gamut real quick. They want to tell us that Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing. Well, I like to say that a lot of times there's a reason why some people consider the ass and the face interchangeable, huh? Because when you get it mixed up, it stinks. Yes, your breath can stink, and what comes out of that rear end stinks as well. And when you get it mixed up like that in the sport of boxing, you call yourself fooling the public. You only make fools of yourself as promoters, matchmakers, and even fighters who want to carry this on continuously. Canelo Alvarez has had an opportunity to be the face of boxing, but has taken detours by not fighting the fights that people wanted to see him fight over the course of the years. Yes, he was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He was in there with Austin Trout and Erisande Lara, guys who gave him difficult fights. But some of his contemporaries, the guys who were his same age and even a couple of years younger than him. He didn't want to give those guys an opportunity, and they deserve to be in the ring with him. That doesn't mean that they would beat him, but they deserve the opportunity. And when you don't grant opportunity to people, one, because of race, ethnicity, two, because of technical ability and capability, and three, because you're protecting your own brand by seeing how long you can remain afloat without risk. Listen, every time you suit up in a boxing ring, it's a risk. And if you want to be someone that's touted as best in the sport, sometimes you have to put that label on the line to prove it. Now, are we saying that you need to fight the top 5 baddest guys one after the other? Absolutely not. But there's no reason why in a calendar year you can't make at least one fight against somebody that people would want to see. We're happening upon Caleb Plant being Canelo's next opponent. And Caleb Plant is a good fighter. But had Caleb had the opportunity to see Canelo fight some of the guys that I've made implications about, Caleb might not be facing Canelo. He may be facing one of those guys because Canelo has shortcomings. And being the protected fighter that he has been, it's harder to exploit those shortcomings when he's fighting guys that don't belong in a ring with him. Now, mind you, I'm not saying anybody in particular is beating him. What I'm saying is he hasn't even given those guys the opportunity or chance to see if they could. And therein lies the problem. When you walk through the sport of boxing and you don't want to give your contemporaries the opportunity, then not only does the sport hit a lull, but the money flow ceases. Because when you're fighting the highest caliber of opposition, that's when you can command the dollar. And we're not talking about overpricing yourself out of a situation where the fight doesn't take place because you know no one's going to put up that type of money for the fight. But we're talking about making the pot stimulated enough that people are motivated, okay? We need that in the sport of boxing. We need it. Jay Gibson says 100. Absolutely. You know, this is what it has to come to. And when platforms like mine and several other brothers out here and sisters, when we talk about the sport, notice how often we speak about what we would like to see. And it's a darn shame that during a current era of fighters in their prime, we speak of them facing off against the quality of opposition, their contemporaries. We speak of them as fantasy matchups. That's utterly ridiculous, people, that we would even consider two guys of the same era currently in their primes. And mind you, being 34, 33, 35, that's not your prime, people. Your prime is 24 through 29. That's the prime in boxing. When you hit 30, that's when you've peaked. And usually on the other side of 30 is the decline in the sport of boxing. But you wouldn't know that because a lot of these guys have held their primes on hold, and fought guys that on paper they should beat and don't give the fans what they want to see. A perfect example of that is right now, this weekend, we have a heavyweight fight coming up with Anthony Joshua, and he's going to be taking on Alexander Usyk, for the unified championship of the world. Now, the thing about this fight here is Usyk, who many people may not know enough about, is a 2012 Olympian. And on my video, when I spoke about them, I said 2016, but both guys came out of the 2012 Olympics. Joshua was the super heavyweight. Usyk was the regular heavyweight. They both got gold, okay, in London. Now, Usyk, who went on to start his career out at cruiserweight, became the undisputed cruiserweight champion. And he took on guys like Breedis, Bellew, and he beat the crap out of these guys. A southpaw who stands 6'3" and has a 78-inch reach, good boxer, fast hands, good movement. He's very active in there with his movement and the movement of his hands. Usyk is a very good fighter. I could go out on a limb and say he's probably the best fighter Anthony Joshua will have faced as of Saturday night when they face off. Now, Joshua, who has already suffered a loss back in, 2019 to Andy Ruiz Jr. in June of 2019. He was stopped in Madison Square Garden in his U.S. debut. He has since avenged that loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. in December of the same year, and he's now looking to start that second phase of his career by chasing down the opportunity for undisputed. But there's just one problem there. If Joshua is successful on Saturday against Usyk, he's looking at the winner of Deontay Wilder and Fury in their third fight as the key to what's going to happen in his future. If Fury wins, he wants to challenge Fury readily. If Wilder wins, he's going to consider other options. Now, tell me, people, we know the history of what's transpired between these guys in the past, talking about Joshua and Wilder and the fact that their fight never came to fruition. How much longer will the public accept this of Anthony Joshua? I mean, even his UK fans or supporters, if you want to see the best fighting the best, how can you on one hand say, well, if he faces Tyson Fury, we support that, we want to see that. But if it happens to be Wilder, oh, he should go do something else. That's unacceptable. And I'm not saying this like in the sense of pro-Wilder. I'm saying it in the sense of pro-boxing. Because we see too much of this on a regular basis. But let me not get off of track of why I mentioned this, because this fight may see Joshua upset. It very well could happen. And sometimes the universe has a way of righting itself, because we went through this before with Joshua, the avoiding Deontay Wilder. And he was the one to originally call out the other. But he's got Usyk problems. And I'm telling you, watch this fight, people. Something could happen here. And for those who remember AJ losing the first fight against Andy Ruiz Jr., let me simply say this one thing. Usyk is a far better fighter than Andy Ruiz Jr. Far better. So just keep that in mind. And we'll touch more on these two a little later in the show after Reggie comes on. But let's talk a little bit more about what the title of the show is. We saw Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant come to blows at their press conference earlier this week. It made all of the headlines. It was on CNN and everything. But as the face of boxing, excuse me, Canelo needs to do a better job of trying to sell himself to the public. Though he started to come out and speak English now, he looks quite foolish when he wants to throw expletives around and then dictate how they're used. Okay? And in his situation coming across Plant, excuse me, people, he really had no answers when Plant was accusing him of being the drug cheat that he is. I found that very revealing, because at some point they should have figured that somebody is going to call them out on this. And when I say they, I'm talking about Canelo and the Reynoso camp, Eddie Reynoso being his trainer. You have to hold people accountable. And recently we have seen the Canelo camp and trainer come under scrutiny due to people popping dirty in their camp, Canelo included. These things have to be spoken of, and old media isn't doing it. They are not covering this. And it's a shame, because there's plenty of story there. The moment that someone pops dirty for PEDs and they severely injure the opponent in the ring, that may be the beginning of the end for boxing. So organizations with the likes of Mauricio Suleiman out there heading them up and running things like a cartel, overturning decisions made by people brought in to help monitor drug use, ban substances, and you making provisions and creating avenues and lanes for them to continue to circumvent the rules. Listen, we need people like that out of the sport. The WBC is headed up by Mauricio, but I'm sure they have a board, they have panel. They need to vote that guy out of his seat, because he is helping to ruin the sport of boxing, creating all these different title belts and franchise labels and anything and everything to controversial ends. We're having these poor decisions. We're having judges and referees who are fouled and filled with inappropriate relations going back to he and the WBC. How can you hold the sanctity of the sport when you have so many inappropriate relations spread out through the sport? The sport can't stand on its end. At least boxing from the WBC standpoint can't stand on its end if it's going to be continued to be run in that manner. You can't do that. You can't be successful. Oscar Valdez should have been pulled out of that fight that night. The belt should have been stripped from him. He should have been fined, and he should have been suspended from the sport. But they didn't do that. Why? Because he had a statue ceremony coming up just days after the planned and scheduled fight. Unethical, people. Unethical. And unacceptable. We can't let this go to pass. We have to continue to talk about it, because the way to get to this is to let your voices be heard. And let's not forget, in just a couple of weeks, the WBC title for the heavyweight division will be on the line when Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder face off in their third fight. What is the WBC planning and plotting for this one? Because remember, the saying is in boxing, as so go the heavyweights, goes the rest of the divisions in boxing. So we have to keep a keen eye out for what's on the horizon, but also keep our foot on the necks of what have happened and transpired thus far. And we're watching Canelo because Canelo is a dirty fighter. There are people who may not want to hear that, but it's true. He's a good fighter, very good fighter, but he's also a dirty fighter. You can't have one and not state the other because they're connected to him. I want to say salute and welcome to my brother and partner here on the show, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. How you doing, Reggie? What's going on with you this evening, bro? You there, Reg?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was having a hard time getting off of mute, man. What's happening?
Oh, it's all good, man. Just breaking them in for you. We're talking about, the how important our press conference is. And right now, just cooking a little bit up on the WBC, the corruption end, as well as what was corrupt about the press conference that took place between Canelo and Caleb.
I enjoyed that press conference, man. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I like what ended up stemming from that press conference. Seeing another side of Canelo to where he ain't so franchisey anymore. He doesn't hold that persona. Forgot what Mauricio's reason behind what a franchise champion, someone that's supposed to be a model citizen as a fighter or whatnot, and being the fact that a lot of his dirty past that they have done a very good job of concealing, throwing up under the table, and Caleb pulled it all up out of the bag and exposed a lot what comes from this trainer, who I don't know if they have given him trainer of the year or whatnot, but exposing everything coming from that gym and just bringing a lot of light to things that have been kind of placed in the dark with intentions behind doing it to create this aura of trying to convince people that Canelo is this and he is that. And also the fact that Caleb ain't showed this guy the respect that a lot of fighters go in there showing Canelo. Caleb ain't doing none of that. He ain't bending for this dude. There's a true dislike between the two, and it played out. And Canelo wasn't comfortable with that. He wasn't comfortable with someone who doesn't prop up his ego. A lot of who he believes himself to be was challenged that day. That he had someone up there who kind of manifests himself as being on the same level as Canelo. And it just didn't sit well. So that's kind of my open to that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of that press conference. Probably one of the best ones I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, and it went viral. It went viral. So it was on evening news. It was on CNN. It was everywhere, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I was talking about is that if you give the people the fights that they want to see against, the fighters they want to see in the ring, competing against one another, people will become more accepting of boxing as a whole. You can give us an appetizer from time to time, and guys can fight non-title bouts and, soft touches, or as you like to say, voluntaries, along the way. But you have to, at some point within the calendar year, get in there against someone that the people want to see you with, because that is what really upholds the sport. But we've seen, because of so many titles out there, guys just continuously picking fights with guys that on paper they're not a threat. At some point, you have to take that paper, ball it up, and throw it in the trash can and start mandating that some of these guys get in there with one another, because otherwise the sport just slows down. You know what I mean? You can still get down the street with 3 tires and a flat. But then when you got 2 flats, it becomes harder to trudge down the street. And if you got 3 flats, you might as well forget about it. Huh? And right now, boxing has got two flats. When we get to this thing, when we talk about the cheats in the sport and those who have cheated, been caught, and need to be fined, reprimanded, and also suspended from the sport in appropriate manner, because now you got these guys, they don't fight but maybe once a year, twice if you're lucky. So a 6-month suspension for being banned or something is not acceptable. We need to go for a 12-month suspension. Because if it's been 6 months since their last fight and you put additional 12 on there, that's good. You're talking about 18 months out of the sport now. Now it's going to start to hurt. You understand? Now the wallets get a little thin because you know these guys run through and burn through their cash like nobody's business. And that's when they typically want to get back in the ring, when they see the bank account dropping a little bit. Or I bought too many cars this time in between fights. Or I bought her too many pearls and jewelry. Because that's what they spending the money on, material things. Which don't appreciate, they depreciate. So ain't nobody learning no lessons about the money either. So, but that's where I was going with that, Reggie. But yes, it was entertaining. It was something to drum it up and be like, okay, well, we want to see what happens next. That's what press conferences are supposed to do. But don't give us those type of antics to drum up interest in a sport when you're not giving us what we want to see from the sport. How much more excited would you have been to see? And this is not crapping on Caleb Plant at all, because a lot of people don't know who Caleb Plant is. They don't. But had that been one of the Charlos standing across from Canelo at the press conference, or if it had been Demetrius Andrade, or David Benavidez for that matter, hey, wouldn't people be more excited? Yes, they would. I would like to think that they would. I mean, give us your thoughts, Reggie, and please elaborate a little bit. I'm going to step away from the mic for a quick second.
Right. Yeah, no, I like Caleb Plant. I like Caleb Plant more than I like the Charlos. Jamel's cool, but he's not up at that weight. I like this Caleb Plant versus Canelo matchup because, for one, the lack of respect he's showing Canelo is what's needed going that fight. David Benavidez would have brought the same thing. And I think David Benavidez will put more hurt on Canelo, even though I think Caleb Plant will be able to defeat Canelo. And also what it does is it sets up an epic matchup between him and Benavidez. However that would have played out, Benavidez would have got it first. It would have set up a great matchup between him and Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant getting it first, it's going to set up an epic bout between himself and David Benavidez. I like Caleb Plant. Like I stated when I was doing the video on him, I followed him since him being in that Mayweather gym and always wondering, like, man, why this white dude always sitting there looking angry all the time? Don't laugh at anything. You can tell he's been around us. He's been around black folks. That's his cultural influence. He doesn't come off like what main media wants of white athletes. This kid don't come off like it, and he rejects that. And that's what I can respect about him. He recognizes who he's influenced by. He recognizes his struggle, where he comes from. He ain't one of these white kids that struggle. And it ain't even a thing that they can paint him with when it comes to privilege. So I don't even put him in the boat of being a white guy that got complexion for protection, because he wouldn't accept that. That ain't where he comes from. And he highlights that continuously. So, and he's doing more to be vocal about what goes on in this game and what goes on with Canelo. And I like that fact. And I think he's the right person to go in there against Canelo. Once again, to chip away at the chinks of armor that have been placed around Canelo, that has been welded and modified on Canelo by this business of boxing. And that business of boxing may be knocked down. That building may be torn down by this kid. And I think Caleb Plant has the tools to go in here and really put on a boxing lesson against Canelo. I've seen kind of that going into that fight with looking at some of the things that Kovalev was able to do in the fight where he played with Canelo. Movement throws Canelo off a lot. Movement throws Canelo off along with a jab. And who he's going in here? A guy with very, very good footwork, defensively responsible, and very good on his jab. He can double it up. And it's jabs distract the hell out of Canelo. Amir Khan had great success against Canelo before getting caught. He was outworking Canelo. So what the hell Caleb Plant's gonna go in here and do against the guy? It's gonna outwork him. You can keep a jab on Canelo, move around on him. Canelo needs to set up stationary. He's great at countering. He can't leave himself open. When throwing the punch, you got to be there to catch and absorb the power coming from those punches. But I was watching that Kovalev fight yesterday, and just really watching Kovalev play around because that fight, there was some iffy stuff going into this fight. And these have been kind of the themes in Canelo's last few fights, is that you don't know what the opponents are in there doing. Are these opponents being serious about being in here, or is it just to accept a quick payday? Defeat has been accepted before stepping in the ring, and they really don't give a fighting audience anything worth being happy about what you watch. I mean, there's nothing to be happy about when watching these last few Canelo events. And I think Caleb Plant is going to be someone that changes that whole dynamic. We thought Danny Jacobs will give us a different presentation going into Canelo fight when he could have defeated Canelo. He did great things in the ring against Canelo. We thought we'll see it in Triple G. Triple G just doesn't have the changing in gears. Triple G is too simplistic, and that's the reason why him and Canelo kind of level each other out as far as matchup. But Canelo being a little bit more gifted in his ability to fight at angles, change angles, move around just a little bit more. But these are still two fighters that like opponents to sit in front of them. Danny Jacobs having the better success of any opponent that has faced Canelo, but he just would not turn up the other gear. Why? Because he respected Canelo too much. This Caleb Plant ain't got no respect for Canelo. A jab and movement is going to throw Canelo off. You got to be ready for when Canelo tries to explode in between timing you. But I got this dude Caleb Plant. I like Caleb Plant, and I'm glad he got this chance to get in there with Canelo. I'm happy it's him versus any of these other guys, except David Benavidez. I'd like to if anybody else would have been David Benavidez, but to Charlos, nah.
Yeah, and I agree. That Caleb is very deserving of this type of opportunity. The only thing I was stating is like the layman in boxing, or someone who's just a sheer novice in the sport, they won't know who Caleb is, And I wasn't trying to say that he was undeserving, because I thought I had mentioned that he's more than deserving, but I was given the example of it had been more of a recognizable name, the ire of having this press conference and something like that jumping off like what transpired this week, it would have been interesting. But one thing I would say, Reggie, in defense of Caleb as well, in making this analogy, is I don't think one of those other guys, no matter who of the other guys it would be, would have slapped Canelo at the press conference. So shout out to Caleb Plant for slapping the dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey man, he was there for all business. And I love that aspect of it. And I think that that's one of the reasons that it went viral, because you have so many people out here who put on Carmex and lipstick to kiss the rear end of Canelo. And Caleb wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? And that blow that he struck to slap Canelo, it was like that was the hand of the boxing public, slapping him for being a dirty fighter, using PEDs, giving privileges that nobody else can to stand up to or whatever. And it was like a blow being struck for the sport of boxing on Canelo's mug. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that was great stuff. And I'm like, again, if he can fight up to his potential, he should win this fight. But I'm very glad that he's getting the opportunity, because you never know who can dance until you put the song on and you put the person out there on the floor and let them go for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only time you're going to know. You can hear rumors and everything, and people could tell you what they saw somewhere else and this and that. But until you're able to see it for yourself, you can't make that assessment and determination until it transpires. And that's what we want to see. And that's where I was going when I was talking about how important are the press conferences. It's like, if you want to maximize what you're there for, you pay attention to what took place this past Tuesday. Now, aside from the fracas, did you catch Reggie, Caleb telling him you're a cheater and your whole camp is a cheat? He was like, the difference between you and him is that he's fat. Talking about Reynoso. He was like, and I love that, man, because he took shots at them. And if that's going to make Canelo come in and fight hard and be like, oh, I got to knock this guy out because of what he said about me, good. Because that's no excuses, right? It's like, when you get your butt beat, we'll be able to say, you couldn't even beat the guy that talked about you. Huh? That's good stuff. I mean, what's your take on it, Reggie?
Man, I've been laughing all week about it, man. Like I said, it's some of the best stuff I've seen in a long time. And the fact that Caleb came at these dudes the way he did, it's almost like a wedding reception that just went horribly wrong. And they all dressed up and teed up. This is supposed to be a great event for Canelo, and they were just caught off guard. Him calling them all type of fat bees, and he a drug cheating bee, and I mean, they were prepared for these dudes, and they couldn't really respond. Canelo thought he was the man the way he shut up Andrade, and Andrade's another situation that really pisses me off when I really look at this, because this is what Andrade should have continued on with when he had that moment with Canelo, right. And what he has done is faded into the shadows. You don't even know who Andrade is anymore when he had the moment. But the fact that this guy came in there and stomped down on Canelo, and then he ain't just stomp on Canelo, he stomped on his trainer. Even the trainer letting out cuss words. Reynoso was so pissed off, man. It was just classic stuff to just really bring these guys out of their element, because they're so used to people just watering over any of the issues. They make an issue. The world of boxing, the people, the higher ups, the powers that be in boxing have always done their illegal diligence to cover these things up for Reynoso and Canelo, to where they never had to worry about it being brought to the light. Never have to worry about it being brought to the light. And they got the wrong guy to do it. But they should have known that. This has been a guy they thought they can bring in one of these, last minute contracts because he won payday. Canelo like, man, I ain't fighting you. You gonna give me a full training camp, so we're gonna go in here on an even level, as long as you ain't got that dope in you, and I'm gonna bash on you. And now that is brought out to where even the fans, even diehard fans of Canelo's, are reminded of what he did in that past, and the fact that this PED thing has been reignited because another fighter out of their gym has tested. I mean, this is a perfect thing. Any other fighter you would put on the stage with him, outside of maybe Benavidez would have touched on it, everybody else would have remained quiet. And it would just been a thing that just, hey, we dodged this one. Nobody knows anymore, and they continue on. But it's necessary. And it's necessary to point out the people in this game who needs to be put a label with those tags. And Canelo's one of those guys. I mean, he can fight. Canelo's good for the game, but it's also good for the game for someone to defeat him. And that's possibly what's going to happen on November. But I like everything that was stated in that presser, man, because he caught all of them off guard. Yeah. Ryan Garcia may go back in retirement.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was awesome, and the way that he salute to Healer Mind Body Coach. See you out there, bro. It was like he been listening to us. You know what I mean? And we were speaking through him. You know, the way he attacked them, and no one else has done that. And salute to Divine Sense Boxing, because he did that live stream where he was breaking down the press conference, Reggie, and he talked about, you know, being able to understand the Spanish that was being spoken by Reynoso. And he said that he really didn't have any comeback for what Caleb was saying to them about being cheaters and stuff, but all he was saying was a bunch of foul words in Spanish. So that was his only retort, because he couldn't justify or defend. He was guilty. So all he just said was a bunch of blah, 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 you know, it's just cussing back, but he wasn't denying or even defending. So it's like, you know, again, Caleb was like he was speaking through us. You know, we had said so many things, and he had an opportunity to go up there and do what was necessary. I love that, man. I love it. He was keeping it real, you know. And how about when they tried to say back to him, like, "Oh, you're insulting the Mexican people." And it was like, no, don't even try to go there with that foolishness, because this don't have nothing to do with the Mexican people. You don't even want to fight Mexican people. So it's like, who are you trying to crap on this thing? I love that, man. I love it, because didn't Canelo say he wasn't going to fight no more Mexicans? And then you up there and your entire camp is popping dirty, cheating over there, dirty as pigs in some slop. And then when people try to point it out and talk about you, you're like, but you're putting down the Mexican people. No, we're putting down you as an individual who over here doing what you're doing and ain't got no business doing it. And you need to have some retribution brought against you, because it's like, hey, man, you're dirty. Huh? You're dirty. And you've been cheating for a long time in different ways. Remember 155, Reggie? 155. You there? Reg, you there? You might have to pop out and pop back in if your sound went out. Yo. Yo. Yo.
Yeah, my signal will keep going in and out.
Oh, okay. I hear you now. Yeah, but I was talking about that, you know. Yeah, who's that healer? He says Canelo weight. Big homie Coop says Canelo weight. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That 155. Come on, man. How long did he do that? He didn't even want to go to 154 where there were people there. He didn't want to go up to 160, so he kind of stayed in between there, you know, knowing that guys will have trouble cutting to the weight to make 155. Nah. You got to hold that guy accountable, bro. Yes, sir. Let's see. We'll try something here. You there, Reg? Trying to get Reggie back in the mix here. Something happened with his audio. Can you hear me, Reg? I think Reg popped out for a second. He's going to try to reboot his thing. But yeah, man, that Canelo weight, that was not a popular thing. That was just something he did to be able to thrive in the sport. And listen, it's not... Okay, Reg, I got you. It's not a thing that's popular, but we could see that for so many years he was right there doing that. And then when other fighters started coming up, surrounding him in the 154-pound divisions, 160-pound divisions, then he had to kind of move out of that space and go a little higher. Huh? But he didn't go higher for competitiveness. He went higher because he was avoiding. And that's what it came down to. That's what it came down to. But yeah, we got a lot of things to say about this. But there was something I wanted to play for you guys, talking about the fight that's coming up this weekend with Anthony Joshua. AJ has been known to give these interviews and talks foolishness. And this is kind of one of the things he was saying this week. I wanted you guys to be able to hear this, where he sat down with Johnny Nelson again, and it was more of the same as he talked about his boxing career. Huh? Check this out. This is AJ in a sit-down he had with Johnny Nelson.
Welcome home.
Yes.
I'm surprised you've been there that long.
I've been here like, 11 years now?
Yeah?
11, 12 years. A-up, Doc?
No, don't say that.
A-up, Doc? What else is there? Do you know what it is though, right? In all these years I've been here, all I've been to, I'd say, is like Nando's, Meadow Hall, Tesco.
Yeah, Reggie, I'm playing this interview that AJ gave earlier. It was late last week where he gave an interview with Johnny Nelson. So I'm playing an audio soundbite of the interview. So if you want to listen to it on your device or whatever, you can. It's only about 5 minutes. So I'm going to play this and then we could talk about his interview. Is that cool with you? Reg?
I'm listening to it now.
Okay, I paused it, but I'm going to go ahead and continue now.
Sheffield is like
Probably the casino.
Yeah, but Sheffield's like a big village. Everybody knows everybody. When you're out, I know.
Yeah. You see what I mean? So that's when I go out and Naz says, oh, look, everyone knows you're out. Everyone says they used to see you at Nando's, but no one sees you anymore. I just think that the pressure, you know, the pressure's gone up. So I just kind of reserve myself a bit more, and training pressure's increased and they expect a lot more from me. So I've got to kind of rest my body more. That's why I don't go out as much.
Did you miss Rob at the first part of this training camp?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it
definitely.
made a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely. Having him, Rob he's a gaffer, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Having the gaffer there and not there is like you feel the presence. But in a way, right, it worked out well because we've got a good team, and I always look at like old school training where, like, let's say Freddie Roach had Manny Pacquiao's assistant trainers with him, Teddy Atlas, Kevin Rooney, Customato. Certain athletes tend to move to different trainers, but what we done, we kept it all in house, and we was able to still perform and train even when one person's away. We're still able to construct a good training camp.
What was nice was, like on a Saturday morning down in Winkerbank, I'll train the kids, and the youth team from the Institute of Sport came down, just went on a walk and just walked in the gym. Yeah. And they were working on, which was nice, they were working on just speaking, just working on that. Not just about being fighters in the gym. They were going on a walk with the coaches. They came in the gym. They looked at the history of the gym, and then we just spoke. And they were asking about the system that Brendan had in the gym there. Yes. And a lot of people forget boxing isn't just physical. It's not about doing this amount of shots on the bag or this position. It's about that as well. And so say you've got a fight coming up, and you're used to running. Normally you've got your earphones on, it makes it run easier, so when you're tired you can just run that extra mile. At this point now, you know, he'd say, right, no, your phone's on. I want your mind to train like your body is. So when your mind starts to drift and you get bored, you can concentrate and focus, because you know midway through a fight, you want to be able to do the same. You want to be able to concentrate 24/7. 100%. So it's the things that people just seem to neglect.
Yeah, so we look at training, or let's say we look at the old school trainers, so many great old school trainers. Like, I love to not only look at the athletes, I look at who trained Muhammad Ali, who trained Mike Tyson. So you had like Angelo Dundee, kind of let Muhammad Ali not train himself, but was kind of like a motivational person who realized that giving him positive affirmations kind of spurred him on. Let him be like, I'm the greatest. That's like, you know, and then you have like Customato, who was like a psychologist to a degree. So you look at different systems and what works for different athletes. So, you know, what you're saying, like with the Ingalls system, I love that, because you know you walk into the Ingalls gym and you know you're going to be part of a system. And if you buy into that system, you're probably going to tick your name down as a champion.
That's the hardest bit, buying into it, because you've got to believe it.
So me and you are different. So what makes you tick is completely different to what makes me tick. Even though there's one system, a coach has to say, I'm training these guys with one system, but I also have to understand individually what makes Johnny tick and what makes AJ tick. So mine might be, I might need motivation. I might need that motivation, like, come on, champ, you're great, you're doing this for your kids. You might need more work. You know what, we're gonna do 20 rounds. You're the fittest guy going. That's why we're working 20 rounds, and that's your motivation. I might not need to do that. I might need to do 10 rounds, but just need to be told I can do it. And like, once you kind of find what makes an athlete tick, then they will buy into your system, and then once they've bought into your system, you're more than likely going to go and have a champion.
When you're saying that, I see the respect you have for Rob is second to none.
Because you've got to want to fight for Rob. I've got to want to fight and die for Rob. So when I'm going out on the battlefield, I don't want to go into a fight and it's like, I don't really get along with my coach. I don't really believe in his system too much. Because this is me. Everyone's different. The other fighter he trains might believe in it wholeheartedly. So I've got to want to fight for this guy.
You give your heart and soul for him.
Yeah, you've got to want it. Yeah.
We'll talk about Usyk. How's the mental approach going towards fighting a southpaw of Usyk's caliber, what he's done as an amateur and as a cruiserweight? What's the mindset there?
So what he's done as a cruiserweight, Archie Moore come up from light heavy to heavyweight, fought some of the great fighters. All boxers can move up weight. Some fighters kind of say, oh, I feel better at the bigger weight, I carry more power, I feel fresher. Do you know what I mean? He's not having to make weight. So I've kind of, in my mind, I've removed away the conversation about this is the heavyweight and he's a cruiserweight. I get that, but I like to challenge myself. So I said, let's remove that out of the way and let's look at where I am at skill-wise, technical-wise, because I've got what I already have anyway, the strength. I've got that. Since I come in boxing in 2008, I kind of had a rapid rise, and that's maybe due to the fact of sheer strength.
Mental strength and heart.
Sheer size and heart, taking on massive challenges early on. Now, with that being said, with Usyk, it's another great champion, great fighter, and I don't really fold under pressure. No, not at all. This is fun. This is deep practice. So when I get into the ring, September 25th, this is time to practice everything I know. So I'm rather experienced now, and you have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. And I said it yesterday on my Snapchat. I just said, like, you know, I asked God for strength, and He gave me battles. And, like, you know, when I pray for strength, I want to fight the Usyks. I want to fight the champions, because that's where you find out how strong you really are. So for me, it's like, bring it on. I cherish that. I'm not asking for strength and then just want it easy.
So basically, you've got to be careful what you wish for. If you ask for wisdom, to get wisdom, you've got to go have experiences. That's how you get wisdom.
You've got to go through certain experiences to have wisdom. And experiences aren't always in your favor. You've got to go through turbulent times. And if I want strength, wisdom, courage, and be a champion, I've got to fight the better fighters out there.
Okay, now that was AJ being interviewed by former cruiserweight champ, Johnny Nelson over there from the UK. That was an interesting interview that he did there, Reggie, because the way it was conducted, they were trying to let you see a side of AJ as far as him with technical speak and speaking from a place of confidence or whatever. But I'll let you give me your take on what you were able to hear from him, Reg, and then I'll give my assessment. Reg.
Test.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was asking you, give me your assessment of what you got out of that interview with AJ.
Yeah. From that one, man, it seems like he's speaking a lot on the mental aspects of what it takes for an athlete to believe in himself. I like how he referenced a lot to what happens over on the American side of things, what certain fighters needed to get that extra, every inch of them out, that level of belief about of them, what roles certain people play. So it's like as pressure mounts on him, it seems to be like a lot of self-doubt starts to kind of, impede upon AJ. So he's, and that's the thing coming into that Andy Ruiz fight, needing to deal with sports psychology. And it seemed like he's taking sports psychology to another level, into understanding the whole mental realm of everything that deals with athletes and how to go about coping it, how to go into these beliefs of what a coach is out there putting forward to you. And that's kind of what I got out of it. He's touched on a lot of the mental edges that a fighter needs, or an athlete, period.
Yeah. Personally, my thoughts on it are, how can I say this? He's not the most confident guy, and he looks to speak as if he's seeking reassurance externally. We just heard about he re-upping with Matchroom and Hearn family for the rest of his career, which he has every right to sign up with whoever he wants to be with or whatever. But there's no denying that this young man has been protected, and his career has kind of been sculpted and guided. A lot like, to a lesser degree, how Canelo has been handled on U.S. soil. So it's like, I'm not mad at the fact that they want to protect their commodity or whatever. I've already stated that AJ is one of the most vulnerable champions or vulnerable titleists in this modern era. But he don't fool me. He don't fool me at all. And I noticed that Johnny Nelson really goes to bat for him a lot. I mean, there's nothing wrong with backing your countrymen. You know, everybody could have national pride and all of that. But to the point where your countrymen, you don't recognize any shortcomings or fallible elements to what they bring to the table, it's just kind of, you know, if you're from over there, I guess that's okay. But over here, we like to keep it real. You know, like we talk about, for an example, Bud Crawford. People say, yeah, he's one of the best in the sport. He's pound for pound the best or whatever. But then they talk about his shortcomings. Like, oh, well, Bud might not have the strongest of chin or whatever. You know, these are things that people say. That's not my sentiment. I'm just giving an example of how it's done. That we could give you praise, but we also talk about what you might need to work on and stuff like that. But on that side of the world, it doesn't seem like they operate in the same sense. So like when he was talking about fighters and their trainers, like, you know, he's talking about Muhammad Ali, you know, but he mentioned Angelo Dundee when, you know, Angelo Dundee was known to be with Ali for a greater portion of his career. But one of the best trainers that worked with Ali who passed away was Harry Wiley Sr., you know? And it's like, if you want to talk from a standpoint of knowing what you're talking about, be up to speed on that, you know? And you talk about Cus D'Amato, but it's like, yeah, Mike Tyson, I understand that's like kind of more modern or whatever, but you know, there were fighters who fought under other trainers like Emmanuel Stewart. And I noticed he didn't mention Emmanuel Stewart, and I know he got something against Lennox Lewis. So it's like, but Lennox Lewis was a hell of an accomplished fighter. So it's like, what are you doing here, man? It's like you want people to give you love and adornment, but you don't want to be projected in a realistic light. You're being projected in an unrealistic light. And that's the kind of thing that I just want to point out there that I'm seeing. You know, the points of talking about focus and the mental aspect of boxing, the psychological aspect of it. You know, he was like, he enjoys this, right? Or whatever. But when he was over there in New York and he was on that canvas several times, he quit. And he quit. He got up at one point after one of those several knockdowns, and he turned his back to the referee and walked away to the corner and just put his hands on the ropes like, you know, and the ref was like, you want to go? You want to go? And then he just waved it off. He was just standing there looking at the ref. That didn't reflect mental strength to me. That projected something else that was going on with the guy. He wasn't dealing with things very well. And he likes to have that comfort zone around him. But in boxing, it's a one-man show. When the bell rings, your corner and everybody can't help you. The only thing they could do for you is throw a towel in there if the proceedings are inside of the 3 minutes. So to me, it was more of the same from him. Like when he's giving interviews and they asked him about if he's going to fight Wilder and everything. It's always the deferring and kind of like you can't nail the guy down, but he tries to sound like he's saying something worldly, but it's really empty. It's really shallow. That's all I'm saying, Reg. That's what I was able to pick up on that.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is all that I got was him really touching in on the mental aspects of things. Like I say, there's self-doubt that's kind of creeping into who who AJ is as a fighter and him needing to cope with that, especially if he plans to continue on within the sport. But somebody needs to teach him how to deal with the mental edge to gain the heart in case he has to fight Deontay Wilder. That's the side they need to work on him with. Leaving out certain trainers and stuff, that's understood. I know he's a Lennox Lewis hater. He'll never reach that level. And I hate to sound, hate on the guy like that, but it's just a shot back at AJ for hating on a legend. Probably one of the only legends one of the top legends, the only top legends that comes up out of the UK. But yeah, leaving out names like Daniel Stewart, yeah, it's some clown stuff. But he knows who it is because he seems to study more about what the American athlete does, because I really didn't hear too many British athletes' names mentioned in what he talked about. But as he moves up, if he gets past Usyk, that mental studying is really going to have to be taken up to a PhD level for him, because it's going to get scarier after this.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I just thought I'd, play that sound bite. I had actually had that ready to go from last week. That was last week when he did the interview with Johnny Nelson. And that seems to be his number one fan there, Johnny Nelson. But let's get to something else, Reg. And I credit you with this. And we can kind of like finish up the show talking about this. But I credit you with this one here. Check this out.
Tyson Fury, I'm going to be short, sweet, and simple. This fight right here, you better be preparing. You better train your butt off as if your life depends on it, because your life depends on it. Don't go up missing. Tyson Fury.
Well, yeah, man. And wait a minute. Oh, we got something else here. Wait. Let's see.
I'm going to smash your fucking face in, you prick. How about that for a fucking message? I'm going to smash your fucking face in, you prick. How about...
What do you got on that, Reggie? Come on, give it to me.
Man, from the Fury one, man, Fury is agitated as hell that he got to go back into this fight. Agitated, really pissed off, and it could work in one or two ways. And in my opinion, I think it can work in the worst ways. To be agitated, kind of more upset that you got to go into this fight, being the fact that the courts have forced you into a fight that you didn't want to get into, because what you see that him and AJ try to pull with that fast trick of just bypassing Wilder, and in their final hour, everything was just pulled from under their feet. And now he got to go into this fight against a Wilder who even AJ is starting to doubt Tyson Fury's chances. And even Tyson Fury responded to AJ stating that Wilder may knock him out because a focused man is a dangerous man. And that's absolutely true. And Tyson Fury is a distracted man on the other hand. He has his family issues. The fact that he hasn't been giving it his all in his training. You don't see his trainer anymore. Not sure how much they have really locked in to the focus on this thing. And also hearing at one point he was supposed to be replacing Sugar Hill. So the focus isn't there. The passion to move forward with this fight. There's probably a level of fear getting in here with Wilder. Seeing the improvements of Wilder, and psychologically, I think that's having an effect on Tyson Fury, being the fact that this fighter who is a very raw fighter is coming in here, giving him some different looks to have to deal with. There's different tools that Tyson Fury has to be able to adjust against. And as well as on the flip side, Wilder has to adjust to whatever Tyson Fury comes out there with. But we all do film study. You know what you're going to get out of Tyson Fury. from Deontay Wilder, you don't know because he's always fought in a raw style. I mean, and you know what to watch out for. And that's the thing that can end the fight at any moment, and that's being hit with a punch. And Tyson Fury has spoken highly of the power. Even in the fight that he won, he spoke of getting hit with a punch. So he recognizes the power. Now you got a guy that's bringing all of this stuff together, and his primary focus ain't going to be a singular punch to knock him out. And I like the fact that they're going into working on boxing to have a power puncher that will use that as a second or third option, the power, but to go in with the boxing, with a killer instinct, and he's passionate about what he wants to do against this opponent, and this other opponent is just mad he has to be there. You know what people do when they don't want to be somewhere? They're there physically, but all the other aspects mentally and everything, they daydreaming. They ain't there. And him daydreaming in that ring, it's going to be catastrophic for him. And you don't hear too many people really hyping up the talks of what Tyson Fury is going to do. They have doubts themselves. And I can't wait. But I hope we don't have to wait because this guy don't show up to the dang fight. But legally, that's the other thing. They have told him, boy, you mess this one off, you and your family will be sleeping in a box. You're going to fight that guy regardless. You go in there, you let him swing at you, and you just fold up. If you don't, that's the way you want to take this thing. You go in there, he do what people used to talk about in the 80s. I'll fight Mike Tyson for $1 million. You swing and I'm going to just drop. That's what Tyson Fury may have to go in here and do because he don't want to be there. And that's the reason why, and his message to Wilder was stated how it was stated. And you can read it all over his face. His agitation going all through the fact that he's sitting there to do an interview. It's almost like the interviews are forced. It's almost like his flight back to this country was forced. Bob Arum stuck. That's what Bob Arum's stupid old dinosaur fossilized, and it's what he gets for stepping in the way of what was already being conducted by the damn PBC and not this punk. That's what Bob Arum gets. Should have been focused on the stable you had in your company rather than jumping in the front of this to interfere with it because you want to play this back and forth thing with Al Heyman when they are the ones who originated this fight. And now Tyson Fury's come in here to rob you. And now you got to take these actions against him. So they all back there playing on each other. And I'm glad it's working out that way because now his fighter's probably going to get knocked out because of where he is mentally. He don't want to be there, but he's being forced. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that these guys, those sound bites, and of course I give credit to you because that's where I originally saw them, when you posted them up and everything. And I was laughing when I saw both of them. I was like, okay, this is interesting right here because, they didn't say much to or about each other in that first press conference that took place where Wilder was very silent. And I understand that they've probably talked to him behind the scenes and were like, listen, man, if you really want the sales for your fight to pick up, you're going to have to say some things. You don't have to talk to us in detail or nothing like that, but you're going to have to do some kind of promoting, So I think that had a tremendous deal to do with it. And you're right. Fury does sound agitated. He actually sounds like downright mad, right there when he did his particular sound bite. I don't know if they asked him to respond to what Wilder said or if they just asked him to say something, but either way, it looked very interesting that he was like revved up, So yeah, I found it very interesting, very interesting. This fight is going to be explosive, if for no other reason that both guys have different approaches. Like Wilder wants pretty much to get his pound of flesh and revenge. Fury has dismissed him as if he's nothing or whatever, and he may still enter in the same frame of mind. But I do believe once the leather starts flying, that they're gonna go at each other. You know what I mean? It's just that Wilder has the ability to really turn his lights out. We've never known Fury to be that type of a puncher without assistance. You understand? So that's what you have to say, you know, regarding this. But it's going to be very interesting how things, as we get closer to October 9th, man, it's going to be very interesting how things play out. Very interesting. I mean, I'm excited. DP Rocker out there in the chat says, quote, I could come off a 3-day cycle and knock him out. Yeah, he gonna need all the help he could get, man. He gonna need all the help he could get. Because it's not natural when it comes to Fury. It's not natural at all. We'll see. And this is exactly the kind of thing that, you know, again, when we talk about these guys getting in there for this third time, who knows what can happen, you know? There are no guarantees here. I favor Wilder simply because of the changes he's made to get back to this point. But he has to do it. He has to do it in the ring. You can wish and want him to do whatever, but you know, he has to be able to do it in the ring.
Tyson Fury, I'm going to be short, sweet and simple.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This fight right here, you better be preparing. You better train your butt off as if your life depends on it, because your life depends on it. Don't go up missing.
So there.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I just played Deontay's soundbite one more time. I'm going to play Fury's one more time.
I'm going to smash your fucking face in, you prick. How about that for a fucking message?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I like doing that stuff like that, Reggie. It's like, you know, we just drum it up, you know, hype it up, so to speak, or whatever. But, yeah, as we get closer to this date, man, you know, what happened that first go round, a lot of people lost money, you know. There were people who had set aside timeshares and vacation time and everything. And to have that taken away the way it was taken away, because now it looks like the whole COVID thing was a sham, you know? And if that was because the man wasn't in shape, that's his fault, you know? And that there should be something for that. He should not be able to just get away from that event like that and not be fined or something. I don't know, man. They're really going to have to reorganize the sport of boxing on some levels, you know, because if you look at it now, this whole COVID thing, and I don't like to, you know, use the term too much because then they start, you know, looking in on your streams and stuff. But the whole situation with that and fighters using that as an excuse to get out, because I do think on a couple of occasions, I don't think on all occasions, but on a couple of occasions, Reggie, I do believe that guys use that as an excuse to get out of fights, or promotion groups have used it as an excuse to get out of bouts because maybe ticket sales weren't up, or maybe fighters weren't ready, or whatever. What are your thoughts on that as we, you know, get ready to wind things down?
Wait, say that one more time, OG.
The fact that people are using, you know, Rona as an excuse, you know, for fights not to come off and everything. I said I do believe that in some instances there were actual circumstances, but I do believe we had a few that were not real. And guys were able to get out of fights as a result of that. What are your thoughts on that?
The sport needs to become more transparent on stuff. It has to, so fans can react accordingly to it, because fans have to have to where they put pressure on these guys, and they force the game to go about doing things to these fighters. These fighters have to be more responsible. They know what's going on. Why the heck are you have to be locked in and focused. What are you doing to where you're catching this and all this money that's on the line? How are you being this thing negligent as far as safety, social distancing, out here in social settings, to where even people in the public, they don't have these same worries. It's not that much on the line for a lot of these folks, and you're jeopardizing whole fights, not just for yourself. It ain't just what the fighters are missing out as far as paydays for themselves. It's about the money, the expenses that people who are traveling down to spectate these events, the cities that are holding these events, the money that is lost from what they accrue. They're going to, generate a certain level. Reservations are put in by people. You cancel reservation, you're hit with certain fees. You may not be able to cancel this. You may not be able to get off of work. You didn't put all this planning and logistics into your own personal travels for this event. The events done set up dates. Everybody's losing out when you're dealing with irresponsible players in the game. And some of these fighters wonder why at certain points, once they suffer defeat, and this is what really causes where these fighters don't want to take certain fights, is because once they lose, a promoter will wash their hands with these guys, because some of these guys on the way up, and as they're undefeated and all this other stuff, they're hard to deal with. They're major liabilities, and promoters don't want to deal with these high risk type individuals. And ain't too many people that are high risk and high reward in this game right now. But these fools act like they're high reward people out here, and that it just doesn't mesh well with the people who are financing these events. But I think the game needs to be more transparent. There needs to be punishment for fighters that do this type of stuff. Some of their purse needs to be taken away from them and given to the fighter that maintained discipline and was responsible enough to ensure that nobody came up sick for these events. And the fact that these tests are coming back with these results like weeks away from the fights. And could it be behind ticket sales and all that stuff? That's the reason why it has to be made public. But I know, who was that, Aram or somebody was saying that his result or something came from a doctor. So, I mean, it should be more transparent. This ain't nothing really HIPAA related. I mean, everybody knows what's going on. You either got the corona, let me not say the stuff going on, or you don't. It's no different than having the flu. You ain't got to hide that stuff. But I think the game has to be more transparent. The punishments have to be more swift. The examples have to be set to letting these fighters know, even though things are opening, you as a fighter, someone that needs to focus in discipline, shouldn't be doing what the average citizen is out here doing. And some of these fools are just doing it. It's too willy-nilly about stuff. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, we have to stay on it too, Reggie. I do believe, with our post-fight shows and some of our discussions that we've had here on the Friday Night Chop Session as well, has been very positive and has had an impact, though there might not be many people who would give us credit for that. And I understand that. The Stormybman channel is a relatively small channel, but there are people who listen. And we have covered some very important topics when it comes to the sport overall. And I do think that we've made a very positive impact, because I have seen other channels that are greater start to take up the mantle and responsibility and zeroing in on certain aspects of the sport, of like what we're speaking on right now. And that's great, because if we just contribute, that means a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want credit for anything. I just want to see the progress take place, and that we be a part of that make that happen. So the sport does need revamping. It needs to be evaluated by investors. And when I say investors, those who can invest in the sport economically to be impactful, as well as from a disciplined leadership role. That right there could help kind of steer things in a proper direction. There's always going to be corruption in boxing because boxing was built on that. It's a lot like how the country itself was built. So the soil is drenched with the blood of people who have been victimized, as well as those who had rode the backs and the necks of those and made, wealth off of that. So that is something, it's built on that, but there are things that can be done. And I think us having the influence like we do when we could create the kind of content we do and we speak on the subjects that we speak on can be very impactful as well. And we challenge those who could do more that haven't done, that they do so. You could tell, like, when somebody says something, like, okay, they've been listening, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about old media now. It's like when they say certain things, they don't never want to give us credit for anything. But it's amazing that they've allowed us to grow like we have because they don't do their job. It's a shame that the entire process of Fury Wilder 3 has gone through the lengths that it's gone, and old media, had they just covered the sport, particularly that fight, in a proper way, we could be a little bit ahead of where we are now, just on that one fight alone. And they didn't do their due diligence and weren't responsible. And then they turn around and expect Deontay Wilder to participate with them. I'm like, dude, you guys didn't even want to acknowledge that the man had a third fight that was contractually obligated, and he had to go through an arbitrator to get Fury to even acknowledge it. And you never spoke anything about it. And there has always been an agenda with that, whatever it is. I don't know. Deontay is just an outsider and hasn't decided to come in with the family, so to speak. But you could tell, even with professional fighters, everybody turn their head, blind eye, deaf ear to things and be like, oh, he should just let so-and-so. Really? What if it were you? What if it were you? And then last week we played that soundbite where Fury said, to be fair, if it were me, I would want my third fight. What? You see how this guy is a walking contradiction when he says these kind of things? So, yeah, man, I just think that, we do what we do, and it has its place. And we'll continue to do that. At least I know I will from this angle, and I think that I could speak fairly enough that I can still state my position without necessarily being insulting or whatever. But I can be insulting too if someone wants to insult me. You understand? But this is not because I'm speaking about for the love of the sport. I'm not speaking about hate against an individual. And that's what a man has to be able to do. He has to be able to have discernment, and discretion when we talk about these things. So go ahead and give us your final thoughts, Reggie, as we get ready to go for this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another great chop session, man. I'm hoping that the time will speed up, the earth will spin faster, revolve around the sun quicker so we can get in them tomorrow and watch this fight and see what Usyk can do. Want Usyk to win, but I already know what kind of dumb stuff they're going to talk about rating Usyk and trying to tie him into Holyfield's accomplishments. But would like to see him win. If AJ wins, I want to see that AJ has some heart and make sure he fights the winner between Wilder and Tyson Fury and stop all this Tyson Fury talk, which ain't the most popular fight. Nobody really cares about that. They're too friendly, too buddy really about this event. I think both of these guys are going to need Deontay Wilder for their careers, and AJ's career goes nowhere staying over in the UK. So he needs everything here over in America. Just don't study the trainers from America. Study the current fighters that you have to fight against. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. And I appreciate you this evening and your contributions to the show. If there was anything that you wanted to discuss and we didn't get a chance to bring that out, just send me a message where I can put things down, because I do want you to be able to contribute to the show as well, because sometimes you might have some talking points, and as we get to going through stuff, we don't get to something, but I don't want to be excluding. I do want to include your contributions on there. So if there was something, just let me know.
No, I was gonna say no. You good, because I cover all that other stuff. I cover a lot of that politics and news. So no, it's all good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as we go out, man, I'm gonna go out to again our and I said I would be doing this, as we go forward and get closer to the fight. So I'm going to entertain our audience. And I want to say thank you to everybody that came out this evening, that were in the chat. There were a few ladies out there in the chat this evening. Ashley's Corner, Tay Brown, all of you sisters, Lala D. Appreciate you guys, ladies, coming in and supporting the show this evening, hitting the like button. The couple of super chats that we got, appreciate that. Thank you for those donations. We had a subscriber this evening as well. So thank you for that. We just trying to continue to grow and do better and present a better show for you guys. So keep supporting, and we're going to keep rolling with what we do. One last question, Reggie. Are you going to call the AJ fight?
Oh, yes, sir. No soccer for the kids tomorrow, so heck yeah.
Okay, great. So everybody be watching out for the link for Reggie's call for the fight. What time do we have on that? Do you know?
I'm gonna probably start around 2 my time, because I'm gonna just do probably the Lawrence Okolie fight and his fight.
Okay, so it may start a little bit earlier in the afternoon, and if that's the case, I was gonna do a Kung Fu Film Focus tomorrow, but I might put that off because I do want to watch this card. I want to watch, the fights that are on there. I want to see how everything shakes out. So. But and that Kung Fu Film Focus will be put back on the schedule. But if it's conflicting with the time of watching those fights tomorrow, I will definitely change the time on that so I can see those fights. But yes, another great show, outstanding, and we're gonna leave you guys with this here.
I know what I stand for, and I know what I represent. But my favorite saying, what's understood, don't have to be explained.
Fuck your step aside money. I want it back in blood. Your daddy scared cause my right hand similar to a slug. You can run but can't hide. Know exactly where to find you. In the closet grabbing dicks with a pound of coke right beside you. There's no more interviews for you fools that try to diss me. Middle fingers to you fools that laugh when they try to lynch me. Race doesn't matter? Come on, be true. It's just a matter of time before they try lynch you. They jealous of my gifts, so of course they all gon' hate. They gon' try whatever to stop me cause I'm too great. A bunch of snakes watch them season enjoy when they body shake. Too many liars like Eddie saying, well, I'm weak, mate. They said I was the Preston finish. They lied on my name. Now, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You are to blame. I'm here to hurt you, make you feel like you've been hit by a train. My power's all natural, but you be sniffing cocaine. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you, fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you die. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you, fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you. We know you use them dirty tactics, we'll do it again. Applying pressure with the scope, now there's no way to win. They had me on that juice and I still ain't feel his pillow fist. He tried to run from this third fight cause he a big bitch. Every man that try to step up got popped and dropped. But this one is personal, blood will be mopped. This for your wife and kids, I advise them not to come. Getting hit with the right is like getting shot by a gun. There's only one bronze bomber, that's why they all fear me. I will be undisputed, I can see this shit clearly. They cut me off alive cause I ain't like these other guys. I don't bite my fucking tongue, I'ma say what's on my mind. They said I was the Preston finish, they lied on my name. Now, no more Mr. Nice Guy, you are to blame. I'm here to hurt you, make you feel like you've been hit by a train. My power's all natural, you be sniffing cocaine. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you, fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you die. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you, fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood.
But at this point in time right here, we want it back in blood. Ain't nobody really on this squad no more. We know.
Yo. That specific volume there with that awesome song dedication for Deontay Wilder. Peace to everybody out there. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the fights. We'll catch you on the post-fight show tomorrow night. Peace.